I have stumbled into one of the deepest internet rabbit holes, one of the deepest rabbit holes of all time. This is the story about Yakub. Yakub, the creator of the white race. I'm going to give you a detailed summary about Yakub. I'm going to give you the general story. Born on the island of Patmos, approximately 6,000 years ago, the man named Yakub was born. He was a scientist with an extremely large head and extraordinary intelligence. He noticed through studying genetics that lighter-skinned traits could be isolated and amplified through selective breeding. Yakub's vision was that he could create a race that would one day rule over the world. And he was an evil man who developed a plan to create this race that would rule over the entire world, and it was by breeding out darker-skinned individuals over generations and generations. This process was known as the grafting process, very similar to the grifting process, which is how I make these videos. So what Yakub did was he began working on a group of around 60,000 followers and taking them to the island of Patmos. He implemented a strict rule to control the population and ensure the success of his experiment. Selective breeding. Yakub started by identifying individuals within this group that had lighter skin among the black population. For example, maybe their head was a bit lighter than others. I'm giving you to this in a very robotic format because I don't want to make any jokes or imply anything about what I'm saying. I believe personally that we are all created in the image of God and we are all equal as people. Whatever our race, our culture is, it is different, but it is different in good ways. That's what I believe. But this is the story, so I don't want to get any problems with anybody. These individuals were bred one another, while darker-skinned offspring were eliminated during this process. Over several generations, this progressively led to lighter-skinned offspring. So sort of what you can imagine is that you're playing Minecraft and you have various different amounts of sheep, and you gather, let's say, a huge amount of black sheep, and you notice that maybe one is a slightly bit, has a slightly lighter brown. So you make the two lighter brown sheep, reproduce, and this will create an even lighter brown. You could do this again and again and again, eventually going to the beige that we know today. As the process advanced, the population became divided over skin tone. The lighter-skinned individuals were prioritized in this society. Not polarized, prioritized in this society, while darker-skinned individuals were either excluded or killed to ensure the continuation of this experiment. This happened over a process of 600 years, so I imagine that Yakub in this story is some sort of a demigod of some kind that can live, years and years and years. Yakub's experiment eventually led to the creation of the white race: pale skin, straight hair, lighter eyes. Apparently there's something in the text where they enjoy Starbucks. They like lining up to Starbucks, and apparently there's something else there. I've read that apparently there's an appreciation of very baggy jeans. This new race was described as lacking the spiritual and moral characteristics of the original black race. What was his intentions? What was the origin story? Yakub was an evil man who instilled in the white race a nature of division and deception, intending to sow discord, not that discord, real discord, and dominate the world temporarily. He believed this race could rule for over 6,000 years before their dominance, their global dominance, would end, and harmony would one day return under the original black race. Yakub provided his followers with teachings on how to subjugate and dominate others using deception and division. His followers spread throughout the world, eventually establishing the white race's dominance through a process of exploitation and oppression. Yakub's story is a counter-narrative, the white ideologies, you would say. So we're going to talk about this story. This is a fucking doozy. But this, is obviously false on various different, levels. Also, it kind of applies that the whiteys have an inherent, let's say, desire to control others. And I don't think that's true. You can see I've been to America, and there's also a lot of places in the world where the white people are kind of put down by society. I think that the better answer to this theory, because you can see this, I imagine there's the same theory on the white side, that the whole black people are, inferior, their skulls are tinier and shit like that. Like, obvious propaganda that we know is untrue. I don't think there's a huge difference between intelligence between the races. I don't think there's pretty much any intelligence. I don't think that races really exist. I think that we are one human race. But also the question that could kind of be asked is that, are Asian people a part of this white race? Are Arabs part of this white race? Are Mexicans? Are, the list can go on and on and on. It's extremely destructive, but extremely funny at the same time. It is a funny thing that you see on the internet. I don't know what more to add, my friends. I think I've gave a detailed summary. If you're asking for any questions, ask, if you're white, ask within yourself, what are the teachings of Yakub and what he demands you to do? There's a little part in your heart. No, I'm joking. This is just bullshit. I think this is all bullshit. Obviously, I think we're all equal. We all should be in peace and harmony, blah, 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 blah. This is funny, though. I like it. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more Yakub-related content. Thank you so much for watching.